Meeting started today. I'd like to ask Commissioner Thursday if he'd lead us in the pledge of allegiance, and I'll say a prayer for us. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this great city we live in. We ask that you be with us tonight as we conduct the business of this city. Let your will be with us, our Lord. We ask this all in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right, now call a meeting of the Fort St. Joe City Commission to order. We got the consent agenda. We have a regular commission meeting on 2/21/17. And what was the date of that? 24, Jim?
Yes, sir.
We have a workshop meeting on 24. I will have it for the workshop. Need a motion to accept these.
I'll make a motion.
A motion by Commissioner Zent,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Third. All in favor say aye. Aye. Right. Next. Bill. St. Joe Reader Bell.
Sorry, I was taking a nap.
That's all right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a quick update. We are out to bid for the rehabilitation of the Keeper's Quarters in Court Park and also the painting of the lighthouse. We're receiving bids on March 21st. So I hope that moves forward. An update from last week's meeting, just so you know, the PSGRA board voted 5-0 to approve the North Fort St. Joe revised master plan updates. The plan was presented to us last week, and Mr. John Hendry is on the phone as well. And we adopted that plan as an addendum to the existing 2009 master plan. And of course, now that we had the meeting this week to approve the minutes, those we put on our website.
Right. Do we need a motion from the board now to go ahead and approve this?
I say we go ahead, don't you?
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with
And
that.
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve.
We have a motion from Commissioner Thursday, a second.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Lowry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. All right.
So anybody have any questions for me?
Anybody from the audience have any questions?
Thank you.
Next, at this time, we'd like to have Ms. Sarah Hines from the Health Department come up.
Sure.
Come on up.
Hello.
Hi, Sarah.
I'm Sarah Hines. I'm the Operations Manager for the Florida Department of Health in Gulf County. I'm here today to present you with the Florida State Surgeon General 2017 Healthy Weight Community Champion Award for your efforts to promote healthy living and an active lifestyle in Fort St. Joe. I just want to give you some details about the application that was submitted. So when we think about healthy living in a community, it takes community leadership to help shape access to healthy opportunities. Okay, so health starts where we live, in our neighborhoods, in our parks and our playgrounds, where our kids go to school to learn, and in our workplace. And I think the city of Fort St. Joe works very hard to ensure our residents have fair opportunities to be healthy. For example, I think a lot about the beautiful parks and the walking trails that we have, great exercise and amazing scenic views for everyone. And our wonderful playgrounds that are now tobacco-free, thanks to you all, so that our children can play without having to worry about exposure to secondhand smoke. You've helped to provide space to farmers markets so that folks can get access to fresh fruits and vegetables. And you've also allowed additional road stands in our communities to sell produce. And I think about city employees. I know the city worked hard to put together an employee wellness program a few years back, which really helps set the mindset for employees that their health matters and that they need to take time off to get health screenings. So when I think about all of these things, I know that the city of Fort St. Joe is committed to making healthy choices easy choices. And that mindset continues with behalf of the Florida Department of Health, I'd like to congratulate the City of Port St. Joe Commissioners for once again being recognized as Healthy Way Community Champions.
All of us?
It doesn't matter.
Okay,
Okay, come on, bro.
Hey,
He said, I have blue jeans on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Want me to pull this over? Thank you.
Sarah, thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure working with you.
Sure have. All right, city attorney.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. The first thing on the agenda is the MAC versus City of Port St. Joe and the Watley case, and that's the same spot as it was last meeting. There's oral arguments are going to be in front of Judge Fishel on March 14th at 2:30 p.m. The next item on the agenda is the boat ramp ordinance, ordinance 528. If you look at page number 5, I drafted another version of this ordinance, which defined what the city waterfront area is, pursuant to what the discussion was at the workshop. And also, in number 3, if you look at paragraph number 3, it's basically I just outlined what you guys told me to do at the workshop, but I wasn't given an exact percentage of what can be taken or borrowed from the fund, or what interest rate and how long it would be to be paid back.
I know we had some discussion on that, how much we could borrow at one time, but I don't remember if it was 10 or 20.
I thought we said 20%.
20.
Is what we discussed.
And if we pencil that in, then,
And
time period to pay it back.
percentage would be 0%.
Yeah, the annual interest rate to pay it back would be 0, and, what's a reasonable amount of time, 5 years?
That's fine with me.
That- With those additions, I'd like to make a motion we pass the ordinance. We've talked about it, we've got the area outlined, we get this passed, we move on to, enhancing the place down there.
All right, we have a motion, Commissioner Brazil. We have a second.
I'll second for discussion.
Second for discussion.
I went back and I reviewed the parcel numbers and all that, we call them waterfront area. I went back and went through each parcel, and it appears that we could also incorporate maybe 6 more parcels into this ordinance to catch, the Core Park. There's the parcel behind Core Park, across the road, which might be ideal later on. We could use some monies. And just some other parcels on down, going out toward 38, before you get to the church. But there's about 6 total
I
parcels.
thought we had that parcel alone, but that wasn't included.
There's about 6 of them.
We had 8 parcels in there that we discussed, and you guys
Yeah.
decided you
Narrowed
wanted
it down.
to take out 3 of them. One of them specifically was in I think it was number 2 or 3.
What about Jetty Park? I
That
don't
one,
think it was in there.
it was not in there, that was one we talked about, but discussion was that we have a segregated fund already for the money that comes in
Okay.
for
We're
that.
getting 601 from that, dockage down there.
But my thought was to try to add some more
I
parcels.
would like to see that done too. I wasn't for last week striking any of them out of there. I thought just put them all down there. Chances are we'll never use them, but I don't want to tie our hands to where we can't, so.
One of them's even the monument property. We own the monument right there. That that section is cut out, but in the future, we're liable to own that whole stretch where the monument is.
Yeah, that's the
And
goal.
so my thought is to, go back and look and add some of these parcels that, I just don't wanna tie our hands. I guess we can amend this thing, but let's go ahead and get it right when we're doing it.
That's my thought.
I've got parcel numbers.
I got,
Discuss them.
I have the way that I originally did it was all the way from the marina, all the way to basically right there across from the Methodist church. It involved 8 parcels.
And then, but there's like a parcel that's across the street, right there across the street from, where the parking is there at the lighthouse.
Well, that was,
Where we were kinda talking
that
about.
was number,
Yeah, it's in there.
I didn't see it,
it was number 3, or number 2. It was number 2. The way we had before. I was specifically told to take that out.
Yeah, we all in discussion kinda agreed, but, I mean, really, I don't have any heartburn about putting it because, like somebody said just then, we may never, but personally, I'd kinda like to put it to bed if you wanna, maybe pass that around, which had the 8 parcels and see if, everybody would agree on that. We could put this thing to bed.
Yeah, I agree with that too, Greg.
And Dusty, didn't you have something you were making a suggestion? I saw an email, a copy of an email.
Well,
Come on up front, that you want us to add to it or something? I just wanna hear what you got to say.
first, I just want to say I'm the reason for all this heartburn, basically. So, well, William's really the reason for it, because he's the one who started collecting money. I'm ready to go here. I was hoping what we'd get done tonight was pass this thing. I mean, I'd like to see some more stuff in there. I'd like to see a provision about separate accounting. I mean, but I'm willing to just come up and let's get this thing done. But what I wanted to do tonight was get permission from you guys to get started making money down there. I mean, I got some ideas. I'm ready to get going, and it's spring, man. And we sit here and we talk about this for another month and workshop it, and we're gonna lose the summer season on getting the ball rolling down there and start to generate some revenues, because there's some things we need to do to get everybody lined up, because everybody's agreeing on everything. And I was hoping I could throw some of these ideas out there in front of y'all if we could get this thing passed and get moving on it.
Well, that's.
I'd like to see, I see where Brett's going with it, but isn't there some way we can put a proviso in there saying if we want to add parcels later that the entire council agrees on, we can add them to it later or something like that?
I say, personally, why not we just do it and go ahead and adopt them all? Because I'll be honest with you, once we do it, who's gonna know who's here before? But my thing is, as part of these things that we got in here, we'll probably never use.
Yeah.
But in the event we had to, then we don't have to go through the borrowing process.
I mean, I don't mind going back to the original footprint, but I mean, if we're gonna start stretching it all the way down to 30, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say about that.
It's
Well,
very
it
small.
stops right there at the church. We own a couple parcels between right there at the church down and a few other parcels that would consider waterfront.
I mean, I'm fine with that, and I'd also, I mean, what you're alluding to is, I think it would be, I know in my business, we have a monthly meeting, we go over certain numbers every month, and we have a very set agenda, and on that agenda, there are certain numbers that we review. And, if those numbers weren't on that agenda, I'd probably skip them about half the time. But the fact is, they're on there. It's kind of nice to have to say, okay, this is what we made, this is what we spent. I think it'd be cool if every quarter, at some point in time, every quarter, we have to say, okay, this is what the boat ramp generated last quarter, and this is what we spent last quarter.
We have
But I
it a
think
month
you do
already.
it monthly.
We
Do
do it
y'all
monthly.
do that once a month about that specific fund? I mean, as long as that's something we're doing, and I'm fine with it.
It's there every month, but Clint, could we, if I, change my motion to include all 8 parcels presented, with the proviso that parcels may be added or deleted at the discretion of the board, would that be?
I think that would be fine.
I'm just ready to get the thing going, because like I said, I think we need to make it happen and get this moving.
I'll amend my motion to that, and Brett.
And I've got parcels if we wanna go ahead and add them.
I don't know what they are and where they are.
Yeah, you got
That's why I said that. I
Yeah.
mean, we've got these, and some of these might be what you've got.
Are you comfortable with that, Brett?
Yeah. That way we can go ahead and move forward.
Yes, we got.
All right, just a couple clarifications. We're gonna define the city waterfront area as all 8 of those parcels.
Yes, sir.
What, and I kind of missed it when you guys were talking about, what is the percentage?
20%.
20%.
Can't exceed.
And it's gotta be paid back in 5 years and at 0%.
Right.
All right, Mayor, if you wanna call that for a public hearing, we can have a first reading, advertise it, next meeting, we can go ahead and,
So we can call a public hearing right now.
right now, I can have
Okay.
I can have a first reading and then we advertise it. You guys can adopt it at the next meeting.
All right. Do we have anybody from the public that wants to discuss what we're thinking about up here? What grant fees and what all it covers? Anybody in the public?
All right, we're gonna have the first reading of ordinance.
We got,
I was waiting for it first.
Oh.
okay.
All right, we got a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Mayor.
First reading of ordinance number 528, an ordinance of the city of Port St. Joe, Florida, designating the city waterfront area, providing for segregation of certain city general fund revenue, providing for limits on the expenditure of said funds, providing for repeal of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. You go ahead and get that in the paper, and we'll vote on the next meeting. If we can do that. We might be a little short. Yeah, probably be a little short for the advertising for the next meeting, probably gonna be the next one.
This meeting is.
First reading in April.
April.
All right. What else you got?
Next on the agenda, Mayor, is ordinance number 530, which is a capital improvement plan update. Every year, the city has to update its capital improvement plan. Jim can answer any questions with regards to it if you'd like.
Basically, what you got there, gentlemen, is Exhibit A is your old one, Exhibit B is the new one. What we try to do is we try to keep it updated every year. Everything we're thinking about citywide that's on our wish list, we want to put on there because if we're applying for grants, a lot of times it'll give you extra points on there. So we try to keep it updated yearly.
We need a motion to approve this.
Let's have public discussion first.
All right, any public discussion? Capital improvement plan update. Any public discussion?
I have a question,
Yes, ma'am, pull it up.
okay? I believe that is, I got at 312 Avenue. And I wanna know if this consists of new building going up in the area or any of that information. What does that consist of,
Okay.
Mr. Anderson?
Go ahead.
If I,
It mostly includes all your infrastructure. That's going in water lines, sewer lines, roads, any kind of grants. That's what it,
that the city is doing,
what the city's getting, and it's basically over a 5-year span. So if you look under year one, I think Northport St. Joe got around $1 million worth of monies coming to be spent. If I'm not,
That is
if I'm
correct.
right.
Ms.
is
Lee,
that
this actually,
published at the courthouse, the 5-year plan?
You can get a copy of
Yes.
it at all.
yeah,
Does
this
the public
actually,
agenda include this,
yes,
that we've got,
yes, it does,
that,
yeah.
they've got that
Yeah,
now?
in
Yeah,
the, in the full,
all those items are listed and where they are, and what year they're supposed to be,
I'll give her that.
Okay,
what year they're supposed to be done, and how much money, and all
sounds
of it.
good to me.
It's good. You can have this one.
yeah, we can get you a copy.
Look,
There we go. There you go. Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else? Anyone else in the public? I guess we need a motion.
First reading, so
Yes.
moved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Brazil, have a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Clark. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
First reading of ordinance number 530, an ordinance of the City of Port St. Joe, Florida, amending the capital improvements element of the comprehensive plan, amending the 5-year capital improvement plan, adopting the updated school district 5-year work plan, providing for repeal of all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. The next issue on the agenda is Resolution 21703, which is the Cross Connection Control Plan. If Jim can answer any questions with regards to that.
Mayor Commissioner, this is in reference to the DEP requirements. We, had an audit from the DEP folks, came down, done an inspection. They felt that we need to come up with a new cross-contamination plan, and that actually covered residential and commercial side, and also a valve exercising program. Short and skinny of the program that we put before you tonight is on the residential side. We're gonna try to save some money for the residents on there and do the work ourselves. Our proposal was to do it for $50, a flat fee of $50. Just the part itself is roughly $28. And what would happen is, we'll get a letter out to all the customers on the residential side this affects on there. Work on the system where we'll get it on their bill themselves to charge them for it and get the work taken care of. This has to be done every 5 to 10 years on the residential side. This is everyone that has an irrigation meter. This is a DEP requirement. This isn't something the city just wanted to come up with on here, so we're required by DEP to do this on the residential side. What we also looked at, if you look in there, it also talks about $1 a month for a maintenance fee on there. In discussion with staff, I would think that we would just want to keep it at $50, one-time fee, and then in the 5 to 10 years, when we have to go back in again, if we have to do work on there again, we can always assess the people and work with the homeowners there instead of having to keep up with $1 a month and keep an ongoing fee on there. Will be the suggestion on that side. On the commercial side now, the commercial folks are required to have an inspection yearly and to make sure they're up to date and in compliance on those. So those, we feel those, we need to work with a private plumber on those.
Jim, just for clarification, this is something though that has been mandated by the DEP. We have no choice. It is law that we do. It's not just a suggestion, but it's something we've got to do, correct?
We are required to come up with a plan, and we have to submit this plan. Once you approve it, adopt it, then we still have to send it to DEP, and they still have to give their approval to it, yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about this. I mean, it,
But
Jim, what if we don't do it? I mean, just,
Well, DEP signs off on all of our compliance issues, so, it probably wouldn't be a good, they help us out with a lot of grants,
Yeah.
those type of things too, so.
yeah, I totally agree with that. They're just putting more of a burden on our people and our community and more red tape.
It's one we put on the back burner for several years until we were told we, shall come up with a plan.
So we have to vote on it?
Yes, sir. When you feel comfortable with it, we do have to have an adopted plan that we've got to send to, Mr. John Pope.
Is this our adopted plan?
This is what our proposal we're putting in front of you, yes, sir. This
About 30
includes,
pages worth?
yes, sir. And we still have to buy some software too to manage this.
when are letters gonna go out in the mail?
It's gonna take us a couple weeks to get this together. What we've done is we've got input from the community about the people that have told us they have the irrigation meters there. So now we've got to draft a letter back to these folks telling them, hey, look, we're gonna charge the $50 if you approve it. We'll set up a time, charge on your bill when we get the work done on there. Then the commercial folks, we've got to do a different letter on those folks telling them, giving them X number of days or 60 days, 90 days to come into compliance on that.
Yeah.
But first, we got a little bit of time, because once we get this approved, we still got to send this to DEP, and it's probably a week or two before we hear back from them as to whether we are okay
Is
with the
there
plan.
a letter or something that we could draft to send to these people and explain why this is going into effect and why we're doing this instead of just sending out letters saying this is what you gotta do now?
We can list there's actually a administrative code rules and all that stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to do that, to educate the people on why we're doing this, because it gives me heartburn to put more red tape on people.
Yeah, something not just listing the statute, but I'd say something,
Personally.
yeah, personal. Good word.
We got a little bit of time to work on it. What we'll do is we'll get y'all back a draft to look at it. We'll try to tweak on it.
How are you guys with it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't like it.
Yeah. Nobody. Jim?
Yeah.
We're not looking forward to it either, guys.
Rex, you're not very running, are you? make the motion.
Can it be on the next meeting agenda to vote on?
That's up to y'all. DEP just is asking us to get it done quickly. We told them we were working on
Anybody
it.
see any problems with it?
Yes, a lot of problems. I do, but
I'll make the motion that we move forward on it, but, in my motion, we move forward with it, but we start off with a letter to the citizens explaining why we're doing this, and this is not the city implementing this, it's the state.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Thursby, have a second? Second by Commissioner Brazil. All in favor, say aye. Motion carries 4-0. All right,
That's all I have tonight.
all right, thank you, sir. Jim?
Yes, sir. The first item we have is pickleball court discussion. The last meeting, we talked about restriping the tennis court. Wanted to put it back on to see if everybody had a chance to look at that, how we wanted to handle, whether we wanted to stripe it for pickleball, or we want to leave it tennis court, or how we want to deal with it.
I, personally, myself, would like to see us go to the school over there and use those courts. They're not as used as much as the ones downtown are by other players, you know, so it wouldn't interfere, pickleball wouldn't interfere with tennis. And I think we can work something out with Jim and the school board. I think they'd let us do it. I mean, that's just how y'all feel.
I've spoken with Jim about that, y'all probably have too. I don't have a problem with that, maybe do some kind of, an agreement. I also don't have a problem with us striping the ones down there, because my understanding is Mexico Beach has got both. I feel like that, I mean, we don't have a pickleball court right now, we have 10 to 1 pickleball players that we do tennis players. So, I'm in agreement with both of them, so, I mean, I know that we gotta make a decision on them, but
Are y'all thinking about maybe converting that to all pickleball courts, the one
at school,
at school?
well, we hadn't discussed that part with
We got that
Jim.
before.
I don't think you'd have a
I guess we
problem.
just need to decide if we're gonna work with Jim or go another direction. And I have talked to him, he said he's
Fine.
fine.
He's open to ideas.
Right. And have you had, how many people, we've been talking about this basically on and off for a year now. How many people have you had complain about the thoughts of us putting pickleball stripes on the tennis court?
Very few.
Y'all ain't got to say about that. It's very few until you do it.
You may never come back.
Here a lot.
My question is this. You know, I know pickleball's popular right now, but how many citizens of Fort St. Joe come to you when us do pickleball? Everybody come to me live outside the city limits of St. Joe, mostly in Mexico Beach area.
I'd
Now,
say-
we wanna spend money for our folks, or, you know, that's my only thought. Now, if it generates some interest maybe through the school, or get kids pick it up or something, but I haven't had anybody in the city that's a citizen of Fort St. Joe come to me and say, I sure wish y'all would do something about pickleball.
There's between 5 and 10 that are in the city that are playing.
You know, the fact that the tennis courts out there aren't striped doesn't stop people from playing pickleball. You know? Why can't this be the way it is and then keep playing pickleball?
Well,
Well, you gotta hand stripe it every time you play, which y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah. that's-
The lines are different.
I mean, and there are a lot of Big White residents out there at Cape that are coming into town, and they're playing 3 days a week.
that's true, but they're eating at our restaurants a lot of times, they're stopping at our
Down
convenience.
this point, I don't care what we do, let's just do something. About 2 years, I worked on it 2 years ago and it didn't go anywhere, so
What do you
let's
want to do?
just do it.
Rex, what do you want to do?
School or the
Do it all, I don't care, as long as it doesn't cost us more than $100.
county said they paint the lines out there,
At the school?
no, at the, tennis court, if we would buy the paint. That's what they told me.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Somebody make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we put fines, do we have to put $100 or less? Chris, you okay with that? Okay.
We buy the paint,
We'll buy the paint, all right.
I've got a motion with Commissioner Thursby, have a second.
Second.
Second on Commissioner Wiley. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. All right, get the paint.
You can take that off discussion.
Thank you, sir. The next item we have is the Gulf Coast Workforce Board Development, Board lease. At the last meeting, you approved it. There has been some discussion about removing the $50 for the cost for the lease of the actual, storage area.
My understanding is that, Ms. Kim Vine doesn't have a problem with $50 at all.
Yeah, that's what my understanding is too.
Me too, and I did it because I thought that was a request from the ladies that work there. When I said that. So,
I'd say,
if that's the case, we've already voted on this.
Right.
Yeah.
It is, as you stated, the lease shall remain as it was.
So,
Yes.
it's
So
$50.
for this year.
Yes, that's what Ms.
Fine deal.
Bodine wants, yes.
We gotta
Okay.
approve that, it's already been approved.
It's already done.
Anything else?
No change, no, sir. All right, we'll get a lease agreement signed tomorrow, Mayor.
I do wanna talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
You know, there's been some confusion as to who has what as far as tables, chairs. Joanna is willing to let people use their chairs, tables. What we have to do is this body is make sure that the people that are using the gym, if there's an activity going on the next day, that they know so they can clean up. And I don't think anybody would not move all those chairs for the weekend if they'd actually known somebody would be there playing basketball on Sunday. So we just need to make sure that if anybody using the gym, they must clean it up that night. Unless there's nothing happening at the gym next day, then they can do it the next morning.
Gym is open every day with the exception of Wednesday.
Right. And every Saturday and every
Every
Sunday.
Saturday and every Sunday, that's correct.
What's the time?
The times on, Saturday and Sunday is 12 to 4, then the week is from 4 to 6,
Except for Wednesdays.
except for Wednesday.
But,
Uh-huh.
that person with the tables and the chairs, if they belongs to Joanna, and they're to be stored in another different storage place, where would you have to put?
We're gonna put them on each stage.
You're gonna start
If
putting
we
them up
get 50 chairs and 5 tables that will be cut out for the public use, then we'll inventory them with, Jim or someone from the city. And then at the time that we take the lease over in the summer, we'll do the inventory again to verify that they're all there.
All right, we got a lease. I think everybody's got a good understanding of what we all need to do. All right, next.
The next item we have, Mayor, is the PSJR membership. Commissioner Bezet want to talk to you tonight about it.
Yeah, this is the third meeting of this been on the agenda, but I'm gonna bring it up tonight and let's see if we get somewhere with it. But, I'd just like to see us, PSJRA go back to an all-volunteer, board. There are many wonderful folks out there with valuable ideas and a whole lot more knowledge about things than I have. And, I'd like to see us go back to all volunteer PSJRA board, with one exception, that there's always one city commissioner represented on the board. And, that's, we've got a great director now, he's doing great things, and, you know, it might help him have, volunteers that he can call on, when he needs somebody, even though he can call on us too, but still, I think there's a lot of talent out there that we're missing. So I'm gonna go ahead tonight and make a form of motion that we, go back to all volunteer board with the exception as, requirement to have one, city commissioner on that board at all times.
All right, got a motion from Commissioner Bezet, we have a second?
One second, just for discussion.
All right, second for discussion.
I've been on the board for over 6 months now, and I enjoy serving on that board. Gives me an insight of what's going on downtown. I give my input, every meeting. I mean, I enjoy that. And, I enjoy being in the know of what's going on, at every meeting. You know, the projects that are being approved and such. So, I'm against the transition of that. I just wanted to express that.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Any further discussion on
I think everybody knows my feelings on it. I do agree we have an excellent director right now. I don't see any sense in the world. If it was up to my wife, I would go direct on this, but she wants me to be at home with her more instead of at meetings, but, extra meetings, but, I'm good with it the way it is. In the near future, we may want to bring it back up and see what you think, but as for right now, I'm kind of enjoying seeing what's going on, and all the work being done.
Yeah, me too.
And I know, you know, that we approved the budget, but we're still not involved on all the decisions, and we're not the board. And I'll just be honest, when I took up the task of replacing the old board, I took a lot of grief. A lot of grief. I mean, people were coming in here, and I mean, they didn't live in the city. But they were voicing their opinions, they wanted us to keep the board that was there. They weren't even from the city, just like Rick says about the pickleball players, they don't live in the city. But yet, she had a bunch of them up there, and then she asked me, where was my people at? Well, the next meeting, I had my people there, and she didn't like what I had there, but I had my people there.
I still got knots on my head from those meetings.
Oh, yeah, and that was people that was actually thoroughly embarrassed, that should not have been embarrassed about that thing. Thoroughly embarrassed. And the lady that I'm talking about, well, will look at me today and she'll speak to me, but I'm not sure she really likes me. You know? But, and, you know, the board that was there was allowing their director to spend money that wasn't needed to be spent. Going to county commission meetings, getting paid $50 an hour to sit there for 3 hours. For what? Had an office outside of City Hall they had to pay for every month. Electricity they had to pay for. There's a place in City Hall for that. It didn't blew my mind that we wouldn't have them in City Hall. Why would we let the director rent a spot? It cost us taxpayers more money. I stuck my neck out to me for the taxpayers. And I would never, ever vote to go back to an all-volunteer board. I'm just not going to do it because, you know, I was elected here to be a steward of tax dollars and things. And sometimes I might make wrong decisions, spend money where I shouldn't have. But when I can save money, I'm all for saving. And that's where I'm at with that. I wouldn't, is your second stand?
Amen, brother.
But that's all I have to say. Yes, ma'am, come on up.
I would like to, first get a clear understanding of what is being requested. All volunteer, what that means, the executive director included,
No, he's board.
board
He's
members.
the director, the board member.
Board members. From my understanding, I thought all the board members was volunteer anyway.
There's two
Well,
volunteers.
there's two, and the rest of them are us commissioners.
So that's what the commissioners are
Well, we
required to.
volunteer too, we don't get paid.
That's what, but the commissioners, was required to attend the redevelopment board meeting.
No, not unless we're the board itself. Man, if we're the board, we're required to be there.
And I participated and attended, the board meetings for many, many years. And one of the things that we had with the board that had a paid executive director that it really kind of brought the community together when the community was divided by, the threat of a lawsuit. And to split the community up where some was more interested in businesses and not residential repairs. And, I was just confused when you mentioned about the all volunteer board. That's what I want to know what, because this board has really have brought and to pass. It really did some wonderful things for the entire community. But at one time in the 2003 and 2006 year, there was a time when it was booming. Property values going up, and you had a lot of people that come in and brought questions and brought issues. But the poor community was really at suffering a lot. But if it wasn't for that board educating the people, putting on the workshops so people could be informed about the decisions that they really want to make on their property, Northport St. Joe would have really got lost during that time. And so right now, that's something very serious about, what you wanna do with the board, to look at this whole picture here, because you got a group that, even if you mentioned some of the high times, you got a group of people that's only concerned about the business, and the redevelopment board is about the entire community within the city, not just one particular item. So, I, hope that you all will carefully consider that as y'all further discuss this.
Thank you. All right.
On the new business, the next item we have is utility billing deposit commission.
Oh, you missed one.
Oops, I'm sorry, I skipped over one. FERDAP committee membership, yes, Mayor.
Okay, at the last meeting we had, I kind of tasked everybody with, we need one new member on this board, and I want to see if anybody came up with any names. Clay, are you on the board?
I am,
You already on? Can't put you on there twice, can you?
ideally not.
But has anybody thought about it since the last meeting, thought of a name of somebody that would really like to serve on this FERDAP board?
No, but I tell you what, I've been thinking about it hard. I want somebody, I'm asking people out in the community, if y'all know somebody that's actively involved right now with young children. You know, that's the most you'll ever be involved when you have young children. You're at the baseball, the softball, the cheerleading, everything that goes on. So I guess maybe we don't have to fill unless one of you guys tonight, unless when y'all got a good idea, I'm fine with that. I just want to see somebody that's really active in the community and
Let's just leave it on there for next meeting.
How many active members do we have now, Jim?
I remember the list on there. We need to call a meeting to make sure everybody still wants to be an active member. Why don't we do that? I think that would be a good idea. Let's do that. Let's call a meeting. That way they can get together, because they've not met in about 2 years, I don't believe. So.
And one of them may know somebody that's recreation.
All right, we'll do that. We'll call it for that meeting.
Sounds good to me.
Question,
Sure.
what does FRDAP stand for?
All right, who knows that?
FERDAP.
It's
Florida Rural
Florida
Development.
Recreation,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, development, agency, something. Agency planning. I
It's when
think.
we go out and we get grants like, parks,
Clay.
children's ball fields and things like that.
You see why we call it FERDAP now?
Well, just if somebody volunteers, they might want to know.
Exactly. You're right.
We will find that out next meeting, I bet you we know.
You
Bill
got
Kennedy
somebody
probably
that-
knows, he's gone.
I think it has to do with the application department for recreation.
Right. That's that
Recreation grant.
$50,000 a year grant that you can apply for.
All right, good question. Next.
On to new business. First item is utility billing deposit. Commissioner Bezell want to talk to you tonight.
Yes,
about it.
we had, a very, I thought, a very good utility workshop, last week before last. A lot of discussion about what we need to do to keep from having our past due, utility bill amount, continue to rise, which for those that didn't know, we've got $180,000 on the books right now from past due, utility payments that we can't seem to collect. One idea was brought up that, for the last 100 years, our, utility, deposit's been $100. The average, utility bill now runs between $150 to $200. Somebody gets past due, and the way the cycle runs, it's about 2 months before you're able to start saying, okay, you're past due, you know, you need to pay up. A lot of it's from renters, leaving town or moving from place to place. And the suggestion was we need to increase our deposit. And I'd like to see us, and some folks threw out $300, that's too much. But I do think we need to increase it to $200. That's new customers. It's not current customers. That's new folks come online. And, I'd like to see us do that.
Do we know what other cities are charging?
I don't.
It varies, Mayor. It's all over the board. You'll see from $50 to $250 if you look around. It just depends.
I just wouldn't wanna charge too much and then I
Well, we
really
gotta
say, well,
protect-
heck, I could live in Appalachia and get a lot cheaper,
Well, look,
you know.
we gotta protect ourselves, we gotta protect the folks at St. Joe, our whole, for the last 8 years, trying to lower our utility rates, try to lower how much we charge for water. But the more we get past due, the more we give away, everybody out there has to absorb those costs. All of us will never get them down if we keep giving away things. We can't keep giving away things and reduce water rates. So that's, in my mind, the first step of trying to get the city back on solid ground and not continue to add to that past due debt that we have. It's very difficult to collect. So,
Yeah, I think, I agree with you, the 300 is a little bit too much. I could live with, 200.
I'll make a motion. I assume, Jim, that we've got to amend our ordinance to reflect
Yes,
that.
sir. So if you're directing staff to come up with an ordinance, we could do that in the next meeting.
Right, and that's my motion.
All right, we got a motion from Commissioner Brazil, we have a second.
I'll second.
We have a second, discussion. I would be not willing to vote a yes on this due to the fact that I don't know what the other cities pay. If we could find out what the other cities pay, and we could see where we at with them, then I'd be more likely to vote yes on it.
I did talk with our auditor, Mayor, to get some input on him, what he suggested. He suggested we at least have enough to cover at least one full month's worth of billing. That would be between $150 and $200.
I mean, Mayor,
But I
I
will
don't have
be
a
there.
problem with that. I hate to keep, adding same old, but I don't have a problem with that at all.
We'll see
Jim,
if we
if you
can get
get
some
the
information.
surrounding, cities, half a dozen of them.
And bring it back at the next meeting.
I'll withdraw my second.
I just would prefer we know what level playing field we're on, so we don't cause too much ruckus. Cause it could get loud. So we can do that, then that's fine, if y'all agree to do that, that brings it up to me. Yes, Tim, you'll check out the surrounding towns, see what they charge for thought. Sounds great. All right?
The next item we have is reference to the drinking water fountain at the Washington Gym Playground. It was brought up, I think Ms. Amy Rogers had brought up at last meeting for us to take a look at it. So we have found a couple of them for you to consider tonight, if that's what you want to do to replace it.
What happened to the one that's there?
I think the one there, it looks like it's been damaged.
How old of a fountain is that
It
one
looks-
that's out there?
I don't know, it looks pretty old.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, I don't have a problem. We need one there.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with that, and, Ms. Amy, I also, if you noticed, had spoke with, I didn't mean to get started on that. The fence that you spoke to me about is fixed. For now, we hope to stay that way. We probably need to work toward replacing that whole thing eventually.
Oh, the whole thing?
Well, eventually, but
So
right
it's
now
two
it's
parts.
fixed.
It's two parts, one on one end and the other one on the other one is torn down.
I don't know where the photo of it is, but part of it's fixed. Alright, and my motion is, y'all need a second on the water fountain, whichever one you want to go with.
That was $979, looks way more durable. I mean, it's much more, $300 more, $350 more.
We want something in the land.
Yeah,
Right,
so,
so
I would,
my motion is to go with that particular, model.
How we gonna pay for it? We got a motion from Commissioner Thursday, got a second.
I'll say.
I'd
Second
say
from
we
Commissioner
probably
Lowry, and
have-
now my question, how we paying for it?
We'll bring it out of our parks and rec.
That's what I was gonna say. We
All
have
right,
that
sounds
back
good.
there.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Right.
Okay, the next item we have is the write-off policy. Commissioner Thursby, we want to talk to you tonight about it.
Yeah, guys, when I first got on the board about a year, I ran into some situations. People people having high water bills, and I didn't like it, and I helped draw up this policy for utility billing adjustments. We've all been through it, we've all done it. When I was told that it didn't work by our auditors, or whoever, I went back and I pulled all there was like $15,000 worth of, adjustments that had been made. And I'm being told that, okay, well, your policy's not working. Out of that $15,000, I've only found maybe 2 or 3 of them that they followed and was done the right way. Now, I think the person that was doing them at that time is no longer with City Hall. But at the time, that was not the case. It was not working. I'm gonna put the motion on the table that we take the old policy on page 74. My motion is to put it back in place.
My understanding, Commissioner Thursby, is that talking to city manager, that the current policy that y'all worked hard to put together was straightforward and easy to follow.
It's not working. There was a man,
I mean, not working, what do you mean not working?
well, I thought that there was gonna be some discretion working. When a man calls me, he's got a bill that runs usually $25, $50, and then he comes in here with $1,000 bill. Something's not right. And then I hear, well, it ran through the meter. Well, you know what, so somebody cut his water on. What if they not? I don't care if it ran through the meter. That's not, I cannot, in a good faith manner, charge somebody for that kind of water. I got another call this week. I've got it on my phone. I hadn't even discussed it with Jim. I told the guy, I said, wait, let me see if I can put this back in place, and I'll call you later on it. He hadn't lived here in 6 months. Last month, he gets a $700 bill. And we're gonna charge him for it. It's wrong, and if we can justify one time a year, if this follows through, one time a year, to help those people out, people in our community to pay taxes, I think we should do so. That's my motion, it stands.
Wow, we have a motion from Commissioner Thursby. Do we have a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Second for discussion.
And I understand that, I mean, every single meter out there, 100% of them, are not working 100%. I mean, we know that, I mean, and that's why we're getting these outrageous readings. I mean, and then they show up on the bills and people were traumatized by them when they see them. I mean, I got one, like $800 a little while back. And it's like, where in the world did this come from? So I know the feeling that these people get whenever, they get that bill from that. But I'm with you there. I support you because I get those type of phone calls too.
Thank you.
And I've experienced it firsthand, so.
We all do, but what do you have? Do you have a problem with that particular adjustment cycle? I mean, it's straightforward and easy to follow. The other one that they didn't like at the time is now you like it because we're not giving enough people breaks on their water bill.
First of all,
That's what I'm hearing.
I voted no when y'all changed it. Brett wasn't here. So, that,
I wanna do which one's best for our citizens.
Well,
Whichever policy is the best one.
And for staff too. I mean,
Yeah,
that's.
the staff indicates to me that that's the best. Now, best for our citizens, all of the citizens, if we start giving water away, and I see this right for abuse, somebody comes in and says, I didn't use this much water, and I'm not gonna pay it, and I went out and fixed it, and here's my proof from the hardware store that I got this thing and fixed it. I see so many problems with that, it's gonna hurt us. And so, and once again, I'll say, the majority majority of the citizens will have to make up the difference in the water rates.
And I disagree with that. I mean,
Well, that's just the way it works.
on a piece of paper, you can manipulate what you want to, Rex, but I'm telling you, it's unfair, it's cheating the customers. If you sit there and charge a man $1,000 for a $25 bill because it doesn't read right, it's wrong. I don't care what time it is, it's wrong.
It's right for abuse, so.
I have a question.
And the current policy is what,
We have a discussion from the audience. First, Chester, come on.
We had the same issue yesterday with our church here, and I think the city did us real justice on it. And I don't know which way it swayed, but what happened, our bill was tremendous, but we went and hired the plumber, found out that 2 of the toilets had been busted. And we repaired it, took it back to the city, and they made the adjustment for it. But there was a problem that we couldn't find ourselves, and so they told us what to do in order to make the, situation straight. We did that, so, they was very
so
well.
it helped you.
Yeah, it helped us out, because we couldn't find it.
How long ago was that?
It happened about a month and a half ago. Plumber came in, fixed the issue, we took care of it. We took the bill back and showed them the actual work that the plumber did. Now, it wasn't something we did, the plumber did, and they verified it through the receipt. And then they, made the adjustment. And I think that was.
What kind of adjustment?
Chester, let me explain something to you though. Had somebody, a kid, okay, cut your water on in the back of the church on the water spigot, okay, unbeknownst to you. How much does your bill run right now?
Running right now about 120.
Okay, all right. Say that bill was $1,000 when you got your bill in because it had ran and nobody knew it, okay? You know what kind of deal we're gonna give you then? You're gonna pay for it. Well, that may be fine, somebody's got a lot of money, but when you got a senior citizen that's living on $800 a month, they can't get out of the house, and they go to the backyard, and there's water all over the backyard, they don't have any family, next thing you know, they get a $900 bill, that's more than they draw a month. Guess what? We can't help them under the current policy. That's my argument there.
Well, your policy used to be the same way, that if you can show your average, the city used to always come in, your average for 10 years or 5 years or 1 year. If it was 50 gallons, then, they could.
That's all we're doing here, we're going back to the old policy, we're just trying to, where people can be helped.
All right, yes, sir.
Deal.
Come up and state your name and address, please.
Yeah, Jim Sickles, I live over on Bridgeport Lane. I'm kinda confused on the discussion you guys are having right now. It sounds like it's going both ways, that the meter's the problem, or there's a problem after the meter somewhere. You identified that a gentleman was gone for 7 months. Was that a meter problem?
Can't find
And
a problem
it
at all.
misread the, misread it, inspect the meter, and can you tell? Or did his yard get flooded out, or,
With no sign of it at all, and nobody's been at the house.
okay, that would be an indication of a meter then malfunction maybe?
I would think so, but they couldn't find it where it had.
I'm just confused.
And that's what I'm
as
saying,
which
then
side
when you
it's
get in
going.
this, when you get in that particular situation, then you gotta use your own judgment.
Mhm.
Well, if you just use the judgment of the policy that we got today, you're not gonna get any help on that bill. If you go to this one right here, and your bill's usually $100, and it goes to $850 or something, okay? Then we're gonna drop that last bill and average it out the last 6 months of your bill, and that's what you'll pay.
Right.
You can only do that one time a year.
Okay.
So that's what
I
I'm.
understand, I'm just confused, I mean, I understand the water being in the yard, I mean, because you're talking $1,000, that's a lot of water.
Well, not necessarily for St. Joe, it's not.
Well, I mean, unless you're running a pool and sprinklers
Right.
and everything else off the city.
Right.
Which most are used irrigation, but, I mean, it's still a lot of water to not see.
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what do you do about the man that's not here for 7 months, but while he's not here, one of his toilets starts running all the time?
Well, they run sprinklers year round, or he's got a pool that he's maintaining, or whatever it could be. Yeah, understand, it's a hard decision to make, but.
Thank you for your input.
Thanks so much.
Come on up, Amy.
Amy Rogers, 121 Bay Street. My concern is trying to get it very clear that under the old policy, if it's on the residence property, if the problem is on the resident property, we are allowed to, we're supposed to pay. But if it's, the water is on the city's property, it happens on the city property, the city has to pay.
Right.
So when it is, you have plumbing problems within your own household, you have to pay. But now, I had a situation over some years ago, when I lived in my house by myself, that they had a party on the street, and the situation does happen. Had a party on the street, and they was parking all down the road, and then someone pulled up in the yard, and where my meter box was, they drove over the meter box. I was out of town that weekend, and it rained real hard. You come back in, it was still wet when I came back in town. Didn't know, had no idea what actually was going on, anything, the water fell all over the front yard. And then what happened, it was like over $900 or some dollars. And it's like, I don't even have that much water. And in a situation like, it took forever and ever and ever to get it straight. So, under the old policy and under the current policy, that's very similar to when an elderly person can't hardly get out of the house or something happens. How would y'all handle that situation?
The policy that we have in place now today, on that, if it was on your side, I don't know that we would be able to unless, I guess you could have had it fixed, but I mean, the water that was already used, that would have been fine under this current policy, I believe.
So
But
would
if
that
you did
elderly
not
lady,
know about it, and, you know, that's the thing.
would that elderly lady still be responsible to pay that bill when she in the house and not aware of it, you know? I gotta have some kind of reason in here. Other than
That's the reason I'm trying to bring the open back so that I can help people.
do what you need to do, but do it with some reason about how the situation could occur. That's what my point is, it's just giving us some situations is, you can't, you know, need to be worked out. You just can't take one thing and apply it to everything, because every situation is not the same.
The point is, we've got to have a policy that takes the politics out of it and allows the staff to do what they need to do to run the city. And we can't have gray areas in this policy. It's got to be black and white, so if you have a problem, you can go to the city and get it resolved. And so that's what we have to do. And that's, you know, the policy we have is, the old policy is very vague and there's a lot of gray area in it. And so, that's why they came up. I don't know what the vote was, but obviously it was at least 3-2, wasn't there?
But it needs to be reviewed, but review with consideration.
Oh, I think you got a man right there that bends over backwards, and somebody in the water department bends over backwards to help people every time they come in. And sometimes, you know, you go a little overboard, and that's okay, I guess.
Dusty, you wanna come up?
Dusty May, Port St. Joe, but, I've had some of these issues myself too, and so I kinda like the old policy. It just seems like one of the things we could do is, rather than talk about, you know, conjectural old ladies and people turning on and off the thing, do we have any data on how many write-offs you have to do, what those write-off purposes were? It seems to me like we got a problem here that needs to be solved. We can solve it in a very objective way. You know, what's it costing the city each year or each month, or whatever, in these kind of situations? Do we have any data like that on adjustments?
We did a couple of years ago. Our auditor actually told us we need to change our policy. That's why we got to the new policy.
But that being said, too, this policy was not being done right. They gave me a list.
Right.
With $15,000 on it. Some of the people were getting the same thing 3 and 4 times in 1 year, and the policy wasn't even in effect for a year. So I don't believe for 1 minute that if it was done correctly, as this policy states.
You're talking about the old policy? Yeah.
The old policy works if you do it the right way.
Right, yeah. Once a year, I mean, I'm just talking about as a citizen, I know Rex, I hear what you're saying, I mean, you know, people steal water, I see people going down there to the monument, filling up water jugs all the time, I mean, you know, so, I mean, it's just been happening forever, I see them hooking up water hoses down there to the Frank Bay Park, they used to.
Used to, yeah, we lock it down.
So, so I understand where y'all come from, it seems like if you didn't wanna do anything today, you can start keeping track of how many adjustments you were making, who those people were, and I like the old policy if it was actually enforced, if you only, you know, once a year or once every 3 years or whatever, I just don't see how it'd be that big of a problem if you really were truly were enforcing every single one of them like they're supposed to be done. And again, I'm gonna bring this up, it seems to me, if I'm a commissioner, if I'm running this show, I'd want my water person to tell me every month how many adjustments they made, who they were, and how much it was. And start keeping track of stuff, I mean, things that get tracked improve, I mean, that's just business knowledge.
Yeah,
It seems like that'd be something y'all could do, and it might just solve itself, and you could be a little more lenient on the back end, so, anyway.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else? All right, we got a motion and a second, your second, Steve? All right, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? No. Motion carries 3-1.
Mayor, just one question or one note on this. With the current policy that we just adopted, on one item it says confirmed by city staff and a private contractor, water leaks 8 times their normal bill. That was one area the auditor said was so great. How do we determine what a normal bill is?
The average.
6-month average, I guess.
No, it says confirmed by staff, water leaks 8 times their normal bill. What's a normal bill?
Well, maybe we need to change that to a 6-month average, of a 6-month average, I thought that's what it did say.
That's why this old policy was so
It said
bad.
will be reduced to their 6-month average.
How's that?
It says it will be reduced to the 6-month average.
No matter what, they confirmed by the city staff, one leaks 8 times the normal bill will be reduced to the 6-month average.
How do you determine what 8 times a normal, what's a normal bill?
Well, if you do,
You'll drop that
6
last.
months for the last 6 months, and then you multiply that times 8, and it's over there, it's over, that's where you get it from, 8 times. I mean, there's no other way to
But
do
if
it.
it's not over 8 times, you don't get an adjustment.
That's what this says, ain't it?
Well, I mean, I think you still, though, the way we were doing it before, if you brought in the, you know, from the plumber.
And that's why I brought it up in discussion, guys.
Now, is the normal bill, and the next question, a normal bill, does that include water, sewer, garbage? What is a normal bill? A bill includes water, sewer,
I
and
would only
garbage.
consider it being water, if he's talking about water. If you're talking about sewer, you talk about sewer, if you're talking about garbage, you're talking about garbage. But right now, we're talking about water, so it'd be whatever his water was, not his total
The
bill.
point is, you voted on the old policy.
Yeah.
And the old policy says what it says. And so if you want it different than that, you're gonna have to adjust this old policy.
And now we can look at it between now and our next meeting, if anybody wants to.
I mean, that's how we came up with the new policy.
And now, what I didn't want to happen is, now staff is saying, after we voted on it, that they don't understand the policy.
That was part of it. We didn't, that's why we came up
That's,
with that new
that's the
policy.
issue.
Yeah.
Well,
That's an important issue there.
Yeah.
The big gray area, the big gray area in the new policy, I think, is if you go to the new policy on page 73, is the certified plumber. That's the difference. If you look at the two policies on there, the biggest difference between them on there, the new one was simplified. It's basically the same one, but the difference is the certified plumber. If you're gonna open it up, I would suggest just taking out that part that says residential water leaks documented by a certified plumber, including a receipt for the repair. You could just take and say residential water leaks will be limited to one adjustment in a 12-month period, and then you open it wide back up again, and it clearly says the 6-month average. You don't get into the 8 times and all the tough stuff. Just a suggestion.
I tell you what, we've already voted on it like it is. Let's run it through the bill the next 2 weeks, and we need to make an adjustment or whatever we're doing.
We got a policy, we'd like to hear that this policy you adopted or not for the next 2 weeks.
We understand that, don't we? Does anybody not understand that?
We'll try.
We gonna have to.
We'll do
You exercise the reason why, if not, we need.
We do the best we can. The last time, like I said, we went through this with the auditors. The auditors chastised us for this thing. But we'll do what we have to.
When you say the auditors, I was told that, and I called Vance Law, or whatever his name over is in Apalachicola, and he told me that he never said anything was a the auditors here in St. Joe or
It was Mr. Vance.
Vance? He straddled the fence on that deal, but I called him and questioned him on it, and he said he never said anything about it.
We'll do the best we can.
That be in the audit report, did he audit it?
Well, last time the policy was changed before the audit report came out, so we changed it before it came out.
We got a new policy and we thought we need to do something about it, fine tune it. We can do that later. All right.
The last item we had on there's the Commerce Park lot utilities. We have a contract on the lot for currently for $50,000, but we have utilities that run through the lot that actually feed to Commerce Park subdivision. We've been asked to see if we could remove those before we actually close on lot. Potential buyer wants those removed on that. I put a copy in there for you to look at tonight. We're looking at, if we do the work ourselves, we're looking at a price tag of about $7,500 on that.
Guys, I've talked this over with, John and Lane. I've looked at what we did here. I don't see where we have a choice. I don't believe anybody's gonna ever buy that property if we don't move those utilities off that property.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, I hate to spend $7,500. I believe we're gonna have to do it and recoup it. Do I like doing it? No. I would like though for that to be contingent upon, I mean, maybe not contingent, but part of the deal that, you know, if we do this, he is gonna still buy the lot. I mean.
Oh, yeah, we don't wanna do it, well.
Yeah.
If they don't do it, the next buyer may make it do it, they might as well go ahead and do it for them.
Then we have to go up $7,500.
The way I look at it is it makes it a lot more valuable.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna net about 40 grand.
But I don't know that we'll ever sell it, period, for anything with those utilities on it, from the people I've talked to, Brett, that's the only thing.
Well, maybe we take them off and put it back on the market for more. I mean,
Does the current contract we have, is it contingent on us moving the lines? Or is he already out?
The new addendum that is on there does. It says that we work out with an approved survey. And right now, talking with Ms. Burke today is, he's requested that before he closes, these utilities are removed.
So the current contract is still ongoing, but it's kind of contingent on this. I make a motion that we move utilities off that lot and we take it out of the, one of the water or wastewater trust funds.
All right, we got a motion from Commissioner Zip, we have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Thurston. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Motion carries 3-1.
That's all I had, not there.
That's it. Who's answering for public works? You talking to John?
Yes, sir, I can. Any questions tonight for Public Works?
Let me know. All right. Any questions?
No,
All right, Jim, thank you. First of all,
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, on page 75 of your agenda, you'll find the 2006 water quality report. We're pleased to report that we had no violations of our primary standards this year. The water plant has been fully compliant with the state of Florida. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
how does this compare with last year before we start, or before the lime slurry took effect?
To be honest, looking at the parameters, they're pretty close, to be honest. But that has nothing to do with what's going on in the system right now.
It doesn't.
Talking about like
Compare it and that type of stuff.
the quality of the color of the water, you know, has gotten better and,
Right.
that's not the parameters.
Okay.
all right, that's all it is? All right. Kevin?
We're running, everything's up and running like it should be, so unless you guys have questions.
Thank you,
Question,
guys.
Kevin? All right, city engineer.
Yes, sir. A couple of things I want to highlight tonight. This afternoon, on the boat ramp project, this afternoon, our receipt was scheduled from the contractor. They got some delivery dates on the materials. I haven't had a chance to go over this in detail, and I hadn't had a chance to get it to staff, but we'll do that in the next day or two and go over it. But, the schedule right now is looking like starting the first week of April, we'll get rebar and precast things delivered that week. And the way he's got it broke up is, except for about a 5-week period, keeping one half of the ramp always open. So starting work on one half, getting started, getting rolling, and then 4 or 5 weeks into the deal, he's gonna need to close both sides of the ramp, and then get it at least one side open back up before Memorial Day, and then keep from there on, always have one side open until right at the end of June, when the contract time, getting the 90 days with them. So, again, we hadn't gone over the details, just got this afternoon, but that's what he's proposing in the schedule, the start date of first week of April, right around the first of April, and kind of proceed in that manner. So, that's what I know about it, and working out with staff.
Jim, do we think we should probably put a nice little something in the paper talking about
The schedule.
the schedule of what we're doing once we get all that finalized?
Yeah, we can do that, put it on the website, we'll get something in.
Probably let the, TDC get some word out to the TDC so they need glasses.
Right.
Change
Long Avenue project, we're still moving forward with our water line design, and we hope in the next couple of weeks to be able to turn that over to John, the public works, Mr. Cranky, and let him start running with it. And really, that'll kind of set the stage once he gets the budget on the water line project. That'll set the stage for how much we'll have available to spend on the sewer side, and we can start developing what we can do with the sewer. That's kind of what that is.
Well, I know, Commissioner, you had a question regarding the timing of the road paving and not slowing up the project and waiting on more funding. Yeah, right. This county guys they're up in Tallahassee this evening meeting with the governor and some other guys with Shears, so I've sent word to them to try to push that a little bit on getting the extra money, but we can get maybe 2 or 3 weeks and exhaust this thing, I think, we'll know for sure if we can pick some money, more money up, BOT. So.
Two others for you tonight. Jones Homestead Sewer, I think you have a task order in there in your packet for, start. The agreement with DEP, I think it's been executed as far as we know. We're ready to get started on the project. If y'all are, there's a task order in there for your consideration, and my permission to start on that. That's up for your comments.
Do we need to vote on that tonight?
If you want, if you're ready to get started.
Yeah, we're ready to get started. I make the motion to move forward.
Got a motion from Commissioner Thursby, have a second. Second from Commissioner Bezet. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Likewise, motion passes 4.
Thank you. The last one is not on here, but it's something you just need to be knowledgeable about. It's really more information on Industrial Road, coming off 98, right before you get to the wastewater plant. Pipes under the road right there, that several months back started having problems. Long story short, DOT designed the replacement, gave the county money to replace the pipes. The county bid it out. They have a contractor, CW Roberts, that signed up. They're expecting the materials to be delivered the week of March 20th. So we won't have another meeting potentially before they start. That's a Monday before our next Tuesday meeting. So the design the DOT did basically includes closing the road in that section while they're doing that work. It's a 30-day contract. I don't think they'll need to close for 30 days. A couple of weeks is probably more realistic. It will have impact on employees traveling to and from plants and things like that. So I just got that start date again late this afternoon. And so as we learn more information, or if that date changes, we'll make sure we're staying in touch with staff on that. And Larry and Kevin, since it kind of affects them. So it's not really anything for the city, but because of where it's located, it kind of affects them.
They'd be able to get the work done.
That's right, I'm sure.
Yeah, the bigger issue is gonna be the wastewater guys that gotta be in.
So part of their contract, they'll have detour signs up, showing, I mean, it's a long way around. Yeah, it is a long way around, you don't go ahead of time.
tell you, that court was very dangerous. I know
Yeah.
Mr. Jim and John went out there with me. It was city-county effort. The work wasn't supposed to be done until next year. And Warren Yeager made a call up to DOT and got them to put it on the schedule. And it pays to know some people, I can tell you.
It's a safety issue.
It is a very, I mean, if you walk out there and look at it, there's a hole in it. I mean, it's just, yeah.
Kevin, maybe you could shoot an email to your people that bring in the waste and kind of give them an update.
You were good enough to send an email about, these are things that's gonna have to happen, so we share that with our wastewater people. So we'll just continue that
Yeah,
conversation.
I'll continue to send out emails, like I said, we get specific dates. Right now, it's March 20th, as it gets specific dates,
Right.
we'll certainly
Right.
trying to keep it.
So we'll just make that communication loop to these guys.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
See, you have anything for Clay? All right, thank you.
Thanks, bud.
All right, police department update. Chief?
Mayor, do you want me to tell you quickly about the demo project?
Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry, I skipped all that.
At the last meeting, we had discussion about moving forward on the 4 that we had on the list, the top of the list. 3 of those are ready to go. We did have to contact the Sims family. They have removed that one off the list on Avenue C. So we have the 3 ready to go. We've asked the gas company Power and the city guys have pulled back the utilities off of them. So we'll turn those 3 loose. We just want to let you know that 1 has been pulled off of the requested list on there. So indications were that they were going to come to the building department and pull permits to remodel. If not, we may have to move forward on some code issues in the near future.
All right, and a general update on the code enforcement, everybody get the report from Richie and look it over. All right, Chief Mills.
Thank you, sir. I don't have anything on the agenda. I'd just like to remind everybody, all our citizens, that next week is Gulf County School spring break. So if anybody's leaving town, we're more than glad to do security checks on your home while you're gone. We'll do them during the day and night. We put something on our Facebook page, so they just need to call us and tell us when they're leaving, and we'll keep an eye on it. And that's all I got.
And you had a big success the weekend?
We had a good event here. I think we had about 450 people there, so that's pretty good.
You did a great job. I tell you, all the vendors or volunteers, I mean, just huge.
Yeah, we may do it again.
All right.
I think so. That looked like a lot of fun.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief. I'd just like to say, if anybody doesn't know, our city clerk, Ms. Charlotte Pierce, lost her mother this past weekend. And so that's why she's not with us tonight, but just like to ask each and every one of you, you can keep her and her family in your prayers through this difficult time.
What about your other commissioner?
How's that?
What about your other commissioner? Why is his name here out here?
He's,
Work
I heard.
Work related.
I thought this was his job. Okay, are any citizens in the audience wish to be heard? Come on up, Dusty.
Y'all about done with me.
Hey,
Thank y'all for getting this ordinance done. I feel like it's there. What I'm here for is kind of follow up on what you said. I'm ready to go here. I just need to know who to work with. I think I'm gonna take about 3 minutes each time. I know y'all are busy. First thing we need to do is we need to get an ad in the newspaper telling everybody that they need a sticker this year to launch the boat at the boat ramp. You either get a free sticker if you're a county or city citizen, or you buy a sticker if you're not. We need to put some ads in the newspaper and get the news, get that out to the people. We can segue it with, or coordinate it with the notices about how the boat ramp's going to be partially closed. And my recommendation is make it a positive thing, not negative. It's like, hey, we're about to really build a great boat ramp, and in the course of that process, there's going to be some inconvenience. Be happy to work with anybody you appoint me to work with. I'll be happy to write this stuff up per your approval, let y'all approve it. But that's step one, is to get the information out there that the new sheriff in town is going to require a sticker. I mean, it's a law. We just need to enforce the rule. And so I've got to ask y'all's permission to go ahead and get started on that ad. And let's use a little bit of money out of the boat ramp fund and put it in the newspaper. That'd be my first thing. The other thing is I'd like to be given permission to start the design of a new sign, that is gonna go in, as soon as we can find a place for it, coordinate with Clay and the people that are building the boat ramp, doing what they're doing. So, you know, that we'll get a little new signage down there about, hey, this is, you know, our great new boat ramp, and, it costs this much money to launch here. Again, spinning it in positive terms, and, you know, that's just the way I believe that's what it is, and I believe that's the way we need to advertise it. And so, what I'm asking is, y'all give me the go ahead to get started on it.
I'm okay with that, just
I'm
run
ready.
it by us, you know,
Yeah.
before, let us proofread it. You can call me anytime, I'll meet you down there. I would like to probably even go a step further and see if maybe we couldn't get Megan Gannon, being that she lives here or something, to come.
I'd be happy to get all this kind of stuff going, TDC, you know, all the powers that be. I don't mind starting to run this thing up, but I just anticipate it being, you know, we can spin this thing in a positive way, and I really believe it's gonna be positive. That's just, you know, pardon our progress kind of thing. And so, I guess what I need to know is there someone at the city that I could kind of coordinate with, and they could coordinate with y'all?
Mike McClure. He would be the one to come to my mind.
Mike?
Mike McClure.
Okay, I know Mike well, and I'll be happy to do that. So with y'all's permission, I'm gonna go ahead and get started.
That's fine with me. Anybody got a problem with it? All right. Good luck. Okay, anyone else? All right.
I'd say the last
I
one,
know, I got you.
just following up on some of
I
the,
got
what is the status on the African Memorial? Left it with you last time, to consider class, something we was talking about in the past, there had some parks that was coming up, that, matter of fact, it was Commissioner, Reed and Commissioner Roberts brought it up, in the future, saying that they was opening up these other parks, and they was saying, let's, have one for former Commissioner Anthony Cannell was the first African-American citizen. Microphone.
Can you use the microphone?
I said, oh, okay, I said it was some, that was brought up some years ago, and I'm just following up, and I brought it up at our last city commissioners meeting about, and I wanted to know the status. Have you all had some time to consider?
I think what I'm getting at, she would like to have a plaque for Alton Fennell, the first African-American city commissioner in the city.
Place.
At some place in the city, so I think that's, and I don't have a problem with that.
I think you
Just
work with Jim
you need
on that.
and you and whoever come up with an ideal place for it.
Okay.
And let us know,
Okay.
okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Like on Avenue C and MLK, what's the status of that? I brought that up. It was out, the street light. It's completely dark on when you go down Avenue C at night.
Yeah, they're supposed to be working on, and my understanding they want to go to LED type light, don't they?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, we've been working back and forth with Duke Energy. They're trying to get us to go to LEDs. We were hoping they'd really come off our cost that we have. They've come down a whole $200 a month on the cost on that. So more likely we'll have it on for the next agenda on that. We'll try to get somebody from Duke Energy. But in the meantime, we'll try to get the lights fixed.
Oh.
If it's not big.
When you're dealing with Duke Energy, I promise you'll be your head in the wall trying to get them to do something.
I understand. It's sad. You know, we talked about you all considering some ways of how we can pay our bills instead of going from Appalachia, Panama City, the ones on mail it in. Have you all looked into that?
I really think that electrical companies should put boxes of
They're not,
payment boxes.
well, that's not,
They're not gonna do that.
they're not allowed cash to be put in the boxes. That's just a big.
What, does
big
anybody never
company.
put cash in our utility box, deposit box, we never get no cash?
I mean, they do, but I'm talking about a multi-billion-dollar company here. They've got all.
They need something, though, to
That's
help our
not gonna
citizens,
happen.
our older citizens that can't get over the Appalachia where we
Can you
live.
talk to one of their representatives and look in the area what they can do for us?
We can
Because
do
they
that.
set up with a local, a business on Reed Avenue and then they reneged.
They won't pay nothing, don't you do it for free?
Yeah, we'll try.
We'll try.
It's all come down to that money.
Okay, the next one is the tennis court needs some, somebody in the audience.
There you
The next, can y'all get those next fix on, the park, Peters Park, tennis court? The nets, the tennis nets,
Over there, by the Washington Gym,
yes.
I'm sure we can work on that.
Okay. And if while you're looking to fix that water fountain, could you look to see to get another water fountain that could be placed when you walk?
We're getting a new one, we ain't replacing the old one.
No, I thought y'all was gonna
No, we better
fix it.
get a new $1,000 one.
Oh my God, cause old
Oh,
people
we
walk
just
that
voted
track.
on it.
I'm saying, can you just squeeze something, look at something, the feasibility of having a
fixing
water when you
it.
walk in one end and a water when you walk on the other end, get out, cause you might pass out there.
You make a note of that, Jim?
Yes, sir.
You know, at the ball fields, we got some, those deals with a pipe that sticks straight up with a little thing at the, you know, something like that, maybe for the walking track, something like that would be feasible.
And last but least, what's the status on sidewalks on Avenue D coming from the, Dollar General all the way up to MLK? What are we gonna do?
I'm working on it,
Okay,
I'm working on it, I promise you.
all right. That concludes me.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Come on up, Justin.
Chester Davis, what's in Joe? First of all, I want to thank you, city, for the event that we had out there on Saturday night. Turned out really beautiful. We had a total of probably about 170 people who showed up for the event. Most of them were from Tallahassee. The moderator of Bill West gave us applause and how the building was set up. The only problem we had became a problem for Minnie Likely, which everyone knows. She had to entertain the ladies. We had about 90 plus women that was there, and they only had one toilet to use. And so, you know, that was an issue that we maybe want to address in the future. Because if you got that many ladies, and you only have one commode, it's an issue. So we might want to talk about how we can.
Is it plumbed for more than that, Jim? Do you know in that bathroom? I don't guess I've ever been in the ladies' bathroom.
No, there's only one in there, but there was another one, but that's the one that they have agreed to keep locked.
Okay.
But, you know, if you got 95 ladies out there, you only got a 2-hour program, and they just drove in from Tallahassee, you know. And we need to maybe address that anytime we have a future need for that. That was the one thing that Minnie Likely brought to my attention. She jumped on me for that, you know, and I just had to suck that one up because I really wasn't aware of, wasn't thinking, you know, feminine. The other thing was that my fault that the gym chairs did not move Sunday morning. And I tried to express that, but I did not know that the children were supposed to be in there at that Sunday for play. Otherwise, a telephone call would have corrected that. But I was notified that they don't work in that behalf. But I live only about a full block from the gym. Matter of fact, I live in the next section down. And I'm always volunteering my time with anybody in the city that needs my help. But if any time something come up like that anywhere that I can get assistance to move things and make it right, I'm willing to do that. Because like I say, the biggest problem I think we have in our community is when we want to do something to help out, you feel odd when it's not accepted. I'm still working with the community and trying to get them to be responsible for their own area. So what happens is when things come up, I want us to be responsible too. It's not just a city thing. We're part of the city. So when the adjustment needs to be made, I think we need to, you know, come forward and say, hey, we're willing to do something to help our own selves out. I'm setting a plan in motion to help also buy some tables and chairs for that gym. And the purpose for it, because it can be a community place, and we don't need that building over there, simply because, like I said, so it's that neighborhood mark point. So we're going to work with it continually. The only other thing I want to say is that I volunteer to help all around the city in any way possible. If you need my help, call me. And I'm willing to do that because one of the things I think we've always had problems with the city is not communicating with one another, especially when issues pop up that can be resolved with a telephone call. Just a telephone call. All right? That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
I just want to because yes, this is very, very important. Thank you, Dr. Davis, you mentioned about the gym. But when you go to the ladies' restroom in the gym, and it's simply slips my mind. It's almost like you go into the bathroom in the 60s. Time you open the door, you can see the toilet. There needs to be a partition, something to partition that off, just enough. But again, I guess you got to consider handicap purposes as well. But when you walk into the ladies' bathroom, there's nothing blocking you sitting on the dock, and that's
Or
personal.
not.
Not at all, it's almost like people got to stand in front and while the ladies use the restroom, cover it up, so that really needs to be.
We got some plans for that too.
Okay.
We do.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Mr. Lizette, we'll start with you.
Don't have anything,
Okay.
Nope.
Mr. Lowry.
I was just gonna mention the gym staff, I appreciate y'all getting that muley grass out of the meeting. I mean, you can see a lot better now.
Need to go.
It was a real safety hazard. I appreciate it. That's all I got.
The only thing I got tonight is I'd like to just give my condolences to the, family. I know that Miss Pierce, had a rough time, and I know she's having a rough time right now, and just back up what you said, everybody keep her in your thoughts and prayers. That's all I got.
I have just a few things. First of all, we have a certificate of appreciation here, and this is to the city of Fort St. Joe, Florida City Commissioners, in recognition of valuable contributions to the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. 2017 commemorative celebration. So, just want to read that to everybody tonight. Jim, I guess you can put that up somewhere for us.
Okay.
Other thing I have is, there was a meeting we had, and I mentioned about a guy with his boat at the boat ramp down there. We don't have any side rails on that deck. The boats will go up under that deck at times, and there was some big bolts sticking out. I mean, it knocked a chunk out of this man's boat.
Was
He
it off
fixed
the,
it himself. He said he ain't gonna fix it himself next time.
was it out of the
And
middle?
I mentioned to us about cutting off them bolts, but somebody told me the bolts hadn't been cut off. So you
Is
just-
it in the middle section, Mayor? Is it in the middle section,
Yeah.
sir?
And, this guy suggested maybe we put some side rails down that boat ramp, so the boat can't go up under.
I'll get the guys
Maybe
to
that's
look
something
at
we
it.
might wanna look at too, but I told him I'd check into it.
Hopefully, all that'll be fixed, Mayor, you know, and
Yeah.
that 800,000.
Yeah. The other thing, I've had a couple people complain to me, about Reed Avenue. Some of the restaurants are putting tables out so people can sit outside there and eat on Reed Avenue. And the problem these people said they have is that's a small sidewalk anyway. And sometimes if people out there eating at those tables, you ain't gonna get by. And the other thing they were saying was it smelled so much like cigarette smoke. People told me they were eating on the outside, but it's more underneath at Provisions. And the cigarette smoke was so strong they couldn't hardly sit there and eat. So I don't know what it is. We have a no smoking thing outside restaurants or something on Reed Avenue. I don't know what it is, but this lady said the smoke was just terrible. And then again, it causes people can't hardly get by if they got 2 or 3 people sitting out there on the table to eat. So I just thought I'd bring it up. We'll see where it goes. I had in the morning mention about the gym cleanup, because we need to make sure when we let somebody use it, that they're aware that there's stuff going on the weekends there. And I wanted to just recognize somebody tonight, because I think they've done a terrific job, and that's John Parker. John, I went by I didn't get a chance to stop, because I had to go somewhere else Saturday, but I rode by, you had a hell of a crowd there.
I did.
You did. That was a one heck of a crowd there, and I think you'll be commended on that, because I think you have a lot to do with that. If it wasn't for you, it probably wouldn't be a farm report. So I personally, in this commission, would like to say thank you for everything you do for that farm.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
I just need a motion to adjourn.